Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And we are going to be focusing tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 p.m. on the winter storm that is moving through the Northeast and also impacting parts of the Great Lakes. And we still have the seemingly endless winter storms that are battering the West, particularly California and into Nevada, where we've got winter storm and blizzard warnings there. So we'll be talking all about that tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 p.m. Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, and Southwest Suffolk County on Long Island. And they've got mulch, they've got sand, they've got topsoil, and they have salt, which you may finally need come tonight in the Northeast. 631-756-1125 is the telephone number for the best prices in town. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. So let's take a look at these watches and warnings that we have up for north central and northeastern Pennsylvania. We have winter weather advisories. The northeastern counties have winter storm warnings, as do the counties in northwest New Jersey. Advisories surrounding that back down to New York City and Long Island. It appears that those advisories extend down New Jersey just south of Route 78. Winter storm warnings for the lower Hudson Valley. Winter storm warnings also for Connecticut, much of Rhode Island, and much of Massachusetts and southern Vermont, with advisories on either side. So here we have the Weather Service forecast amounts of snow in inches. We are seeing they're going for around 4 inches for New York City, which, by the way, if this does verify, if New York City winds up getting 2.5 inches, this will not be the least snowiest winter on record. 2 to 4 inches across Long Island. Also back into New Jersey, south of Route 80, you start to get to bigger amounts of 6 inches plus as you go into northwest New Jersey and up the Hudson Valley. Some 6, 7, 8 inch numbers there. Also in Connecticut and Massachusetts and on up into the Catskills. Now, my forecast, I was actually making this forecast yesterday, and I've left the maps alone today. I feel comfortable with this. This is the first storm of the winter season at the end of February. Normally, I would have had a number of storms under my belt, so the confidence level is not all that high. It's not the most ideal situation for snow. So I'm a little lower here. I have generally a 2 to 4 inch band running between Route 80 and Route 78 in New Jersey, maybe a little bit south of Route 78, and then across Long Island, except for the immediate South Shore that might get a little bit less. But then you just go north into northwest Jersey and into the Hudson Valley. It's 4 to 6. Same for southern Connecticut and also west of Boston, and then go further west into Massachusetts and further north into Connecticut, particularly north of Route 84 and west of I-91. We're seeing a 6 inch plus amounts, and the same goes for the middle and upper Hudson Valley, where I'm going for 6 inch or higher amounts there. Here's our storm, and your satellite signature is pretty impressive here. We have a wrapped up primary low that's going to our west, but it's also going to be weakening rapidly. If you look out to the east off the east coast, there are clouds moving underneath a low that's east of Newfoundland, what we usually refer to as the 50-50 low. It's at 50 north and 50 west. And that's really not moving very much. So this primary low is going to die out quickly. A secondary low is going to form east of the Maryland-Delaware coast and move out to the east. And that eventually will get the traffic moving. But that allows cold air to get wedged down from New England and southeastern Canada just far enough south that it's causing snow to come down to places like New York City, northern New Jersey, northeast Pennsylvania, and for southern New England. Meanwhile, out in the west, look off the west coast, we still have this swirling storm that has slowly been dropping southward. It's been sitting there for 2 days. So that means the rough weather, particularly in the mountains in the Sierra Nevadas and also in the mountains in Southern California, continues with areas getting a heavy snowfall. On the radar, as of noon, we are seeing severe weather in parts of northeastern Illinois. We've got a couple of tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings that have popped up there. And you notice that there's this giant arm of rain that extends from Wisconsin through Michigan into Ohio, southwest PA, and into northern Virginia. And as we go through the afternoon, we're going to see this area expand as that primary low begins to weaken, and pressures will begin to fall rapidly off the coast of southern New Jersey down into the Delmarva Peninsula and points east. And that's where the new low is going to be forming. WPC for the next 7 days has quite a bit of moisture. Precip amounts on the totals of an inch and a half to as much as 3 inches plus in the lower Ohio and Tennessee Valley. Also, we're seeing 7-day precip amounts in the west, continuing to be considerable from Southern California all the way up the coast to Washington. WPC's snowfall probability here, so the probability of at least 2. I like to use the 50% line as a line where it's a very good bet that you're going to see at least 2 inches, and that runs across northern New Jersey to New York City, the North Shore of Long Island, and points northward. The probabilities are very high, up to 100% in northwest New Jersey, the Hudson Valley around Route 84 and points northward, and also into western Connecticut. 50% back over toward Boston. And if we want to look at the probabilities of at least 4, we can take a look at that. And you see the 50% line lies just north of New York City and along the coast of southern Connecticut, and then turns northward there to the west of Boston. 80 to 100% probability of at least 4 in the Catskills, northwest Jersey, the lower Hudson Valley, again, probably north of Route 84, northwest Connecticut, and into western Massachusetts. So let's run through what we expect to happen here. There's your low sitting in northern Illinois on the GFS forecast at 1 o'clock this afternoon. You've got this high that is north of Vermont that's trying to wedge in the cold air. It's actually colder aloft than it is down at the surface, which is helping this along because that storm is going to system as it redevelops will start to cool the column of the atmosphere down to where it can be supportive of snow. The primary here this evening in southwest Michigan, you start to see that secondary low begin to form tonight. You look at the isobars, it's right about there, and you see that wedge of snow that with that cold air trying to hold on from northern New Jersey north and east. The secondary low then takes over. Precipitation comes to an end tomorrow morning, and then the low pulls away. We'll have drier weather. There's no real cold air behind this, and given the time of year, that means that temperatures will probably be in the 40s. You go further south tomorrow in southern New Jersey and points south, it'll probably be above 50 because there won't be any snow there. Wednesday into Thursday, we have a weak weather front coming through. Doesn't look like much, maybe a shower or two on Thursday, but here comes a colder high building in and a stronger storm in the southern stream. This low in the southern stream is so wrapped up and so deep that it's going to try to overpower that big high to the north, which is, at least from the recent model runs, would indicate that it might be a snow to rain situation in the northern mid-Atlantic to southern New England. And then same idea here, the primary low is going to fall apart and the secondary is going to form to the east. But in this particular case, unless we see this being overdone by the GFS where it winds up being a little flatter and a little further south, this is actually a little bit further to the north than what we're dealing with today. The situations are similar, but this time around we're going to actually have a stronger high, but we're also going to have a deeper low coming out. So that makes for a rather complex forecast that could be setting up, and this would be for Friday into this coming Saturday. So something we will continue to watch, but let's get this first system out of the way before we start worrying about anything from the next one. Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 is the phone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. And just to get a reminder, the Joe and Joe Weather Show tonight at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you then.